Welcome back, Summoners. We've moved into game number 3. Setting up on our Fearless draft so far. Once again, our bans are right there up at the top, so just look up and you can see what's been banned so far. TPO losing that Aatrox is going to be devastating, but it's not over just quite yet. This is going to be a best of 3. If you were either team, let's say you're Moondusto, Isaac, here, what are you thinking? Like, what do you think worked well for them?
I think what really worked well for them, frankly, is going to be Rock Bomber on that Mordekaiser was what started to turn that game around to their side, being able to find a lot of value by picking out Koala Munker there. So I wonder what will be the play for the side of Moondusto this time around. Obviously, since it is fearless, they won't have that Mordekaiser again. And let's see how they adjust that. What else perhaps Rock Bomber can do there. It is important to note TPO SB have chosen for blue side. So for all 3 games this time around, we'll have the same teams on the same side of the map. All of them very comfortable with where they want to be.
Well, and I think if I was TPO and I saw how that last game went, and just sort of dealing with that Mordekaiser just walking through your front line and then them doing everything they can to keep it alive, I feel like the support would make a pretty big difference there. They've got to have not just CC, but they've got to have someone whose dedicated job is to keep them alive. And I don't think Renana was really able to do that for Callista. They were good in the early game, and I could see what they were thinking, but I think they really need to go something to stop it. Unfortunately, there's not going to be a Braum in this one. I believe Rel has already been picked for TPO. No, TPO does have Rel available, and then get
Uh,
someone like Alistar.
yeah, it's every
Oh,
it's
so
both
if they're played
sides.
by either team.
Yeah,
Okay, I
yeah.
didn't understand Fearless there. So yeah, they can't grab Rel, they can't grab Galio. So that's gonna be a lot to deal with. But like there's still more options, like there's you can still get your hands on Alistair, who I feel is pretty strong right now. You got to be careful with him because it's very easy to get caught in a precarious situation and sort of like get taken down for it.
I do
First
like
couple of
that.
picks are out. It looks like we've got Jarvan into Sam, and over on the right side for Moondusto, we've got Rakan into Cat.
Picking Samira into Caitlyn actively as a choice seems kind of troll. I honestly
It's followed up with
haven't.
the Nautilus.
It's followed up with the Nautilus, which is well what you want. Samir. You want the easy like CC. The Samir just goes in. You want to support. You want your Nautilus out there. Those sorts of champions. But picking Samira into Caitlyn actively. I haven't seen this matchup much, mostly because Samira hasn't been meta ever since her release, and honestly, understandable. But I it just seems a way too short range and just a bit too easily exploitable, especially in those early levels. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen too much of this. Maybe there's an angle I'm not aware of with this matchup, but like my early gut feeling is why would you do that?
I think what they are probably thinking on their side is TPO has done quite well into Moondusto's ADC, and they have 2 games on them so far, so that they kind of know what to expect, what to see. This isn't like like doing like solo queue where you're like you get a new support, you get a new opponent each time. Like you've had time to study and prepare for those. And I think what TPO is saying is that they're confident, is like they know that they're not doing like that's not the best pick into Caitlyn, but I think they're shooting for the long-term team fights because Sam into the late game, into the mid game, is just an absolute powerhouse. And right now, she's supported by Jarvan. She's supported by Nautilus, and we've seen how much work she can how much work she can put in for her team. And if she's got enough people peeling and isolating, that'll be good for her. She does have to watch out for. I'm not as worried about Rakan. Rakan will definitely be a pest, and I think he'll set up a couple of things and slow people down, which is what Rakan does. I don't mean that like in a dismissive way, but I think the things she's really going to watch out for is obviously the Singed and the Amumu so far, just getting grabbed there. but she does have tools to get out. And on top of that, it looks like they've got an Orianna there in the background. Orianna into Sam. I feel like they're really, really favoring here Sam for this fight, and then Gwen for top lane. Go ahead, Isaac. Look like you got to just say something.
Yes! Yes! I don't even think this is necessarily all of a bad angle for it. Surprisingly, I think you get that realized and you just run away. So much of the side of TPO wants to run at you, and what is the rule 1 of League of Legends? It is don't chase Singed into a composition that wants to run you down. I on one hand, Singed never picked. It's great to see a champion that doesn't like get so much attention, and sometimes you see that and it's like, oh, it's just like the player, they like this champion and that's what they play. This, I think, could actually be an insane Singed angle for the side of Moondusto. I do believe that it can be such a menace with also the I don't even know the ability names because I never see this champion, but like the little like circle like grounded sort of ability is so good, and I can't wait until we load onto it in just moments because we have that ready for you, and we'll see how this pans out for Dusto going into TPOSP.
And can you feel it, Summoners? We've moved into the match point between TPO and MDO. Moondusto into TPO. The teams are looking pretty solid on both sides. I feel like the synergy is not quite as much there on Moondusto. I don't know what they're thinking, but they've been able to pull a bit of a weird one on me with that Ivern before. And clearly they knew what they were doing there with the Mord and the Ivern, and it worked out quite well. So maybe there's an angle here that I'm not seeing, but I really like the synergy here for TPO. So much support, so much help there for the Sam, and I think the combination between Sam and just almost the entire team is going to be quite phenomenal here for this. A little bit of 4-stack so far into jungle.
Yeah, I know I did focus a lot on the Singed in draft, but yeah, the J4 Orianna definitely a combination, and for good reason. The Shockwave placed on top of the Jarvan Cataclysm with the Flagging Drag gets so much range and so much value from it. It definitely can't be ignored, but on the other hand, Singed!
Isaac, pretty excited there for Singed. I don't blame him. I think maybe the strategy here for it is kind of what Singed does. I think his goal is probably try to get in there, do a bit of proxying, and that may not be necessarily the worst thing because Rock Bomber has had a harder time with the early trades into his lane opponent, into Edojun, sorry. And I think maybe that's sort of his goal for it. He's not starting off with a proxy so far, but I don't really blame him because he's got to watch out for Jarvan, and I think Jarvan's going to have a pretty big impact on this game. But I guess Amumu, if Amumu is able to shadow him, he's able to get a lot off on him, and so really could go either way.
Yeah, and I do also think that the early levels for Rock Bomber, at least the first few, might be a bit tough into the Gwen. That extra range that Gwen has is on her auto attacks is nothing to I was going to say write home about, but that's the incorrect. That's the opposite of what it is. It is something to write. It is certainly an advantage that Edojun can push and wait.
Ooh, Nautilus getting a pretty good hook there. Rakan does manage to make it out. Engagement going back and forward, a little bit of trading there for top lane. But I hope that's a taste of what's to come. That was a pretty clean hook for Nautilus to grab. He saw the opportunity and he took it. They didn't get a kill off of it, but they do have to be cautious and watch out for that going forward. And the more I think about this Gwen over here in top, I think what TPO might be thinking is that they did really well in the early game, and I think they're really playing for this late game. Because Gwen just sort of comes online at a certain point in the game. It's not as prevalent as, say, someone like Kale or someone like Kassadin, right? Where they just sort of like, they hit a certain level, a certain amount of items, and they just kind of auto-win the game. But Gwen can really, really turn things around. And in the Masters Plus tournament that I was doing, I saw that time and time again where Gwen just got dominated, and then just suddenly she just came online and started wrecking face. And I think that's what their plan is, comboed with the Sam, because I just really, really like their synergy there because of Orianna. It's just I think I think this is something they definitely cooked up and they were prepared for.
It's definitely have a lot of synergy there. And as you mentioned, the scaling on the Gwen, it is definitely one of the stronger in the game, especially with how much side lane pressure he can drag out.
Ooh, oh, Orianna gonna get grabbed there by Mumu. She does have to flash out. It is enough to save her, but that means she's not gonna have it there for later. And that Mummy is gonna be quite the pest to deal with. Mummy grabbing a pretty. I think he threaded that needle. I think that was a max distance grab. I would have to see it again, but I think Mumu got a max distance grab there on Orianna.
Yeah, it was fairly out there. I was honestly surprised that it landed, and important that it did, because obviously Dunstan using the flash of their own to find that bandage toss. If they don't get the flash out of the it's definitely a big loss for them. But with that, Team Sussman suddenly becomes a very big target. Hold on, Rock Bomber.
Gwen's got to watch out for it. Singe is going to pop Gwen exactly where he needs to. Amumu going to go in, at least with one of his Qs so far. He is going to get a kill there on Gwen. Gwen's got to watch out. She's going to get taken down. No, actually, Singe was able to get it. So first blood going to Singe, which is going to make Gwen, I feel like, have a harder time in lane. So hopefully that'll help him out. Maybe that's not wasted gold. I don't think the better call would be to have it on Amumu, but I think getting gold in general there was super, super helpful.
Yeah, just really well played by Rock Bomber. Really well coordinated between the side of Moondusto there, baiting in Adojun with that low health bar to then use the amount of move speed that Singe can get just on his own, even without the ghost, but combined with the ghost, able to just hightail it out of there.
Nautilus grabbing another stun there on Cat. Cat's got to be really careful. Caitlyn going down about half HP. She does have to blow her barrier. Is it going to be enough to save her support? Looks like Rakan does flash out, but that's going to be so many resources there. They burnt on it. Nautilus going back in, grabbing another hook, getting so close. Caitlyn just barely able to survive. Jarvan maybe not wanting that assault. Orianna, he's got to watch out. She does get stunned there by the Syndrus. She almost turns it around there, grabbing the Orianna, but this Amumu is everywhere he needs to be.
Yeah, Dunstan there to help out K-Bama, ensuring that they get that kill. And while there have been a lot of good signs from TPO early on, the fights and the kills have managed to go the way of Moondusto. All of this gold, they're sitting up almost 1K just 6.5 minutes in. Moondusto have really managed to scale into the series.
Taking a look at the gold and the CS, it looks like Moondusto is just a little bit ahead, which is not that surprising considering the first blood. The first 2 kills. Ooh! Adojun getting really close to grabbing Singe, but once again, rule number 1 is don't chase the Singe. Rule number 2 is ban Teemo, in my opinion.
Ban Teemo. That's what rule number 2. That's kind of crazy. Not gonna lie,
I'm not a fan of Teemo top whatsoever. I don't care if you're a challenger player playing in gold. I don't want that Teemo on my team whatsoever.
That's understandable. I mean, I feel like everyone has that just sort of champion that they don't want to see in their games. And if you don't want to see him in your game, I mean, fair enough. But all things considered, it was very close from Adojun with that needlework. Didn't quite find the second cast to get the kill onto Rock Bomber though. So Rock Bomber in the end, just going to feel mostly okay.
Chat saying rule number 3, there is always a Garen in the bush. For me, that was always Kassadin, but Garen's just as scary. But I'm from the early era of Kassadin when he was in every single bush, no matter whether he was in the game or not.
Didn't he have, I forget what, like, Kassadin's, like, ban rate at some point. Wasn't it, like, it was somewhere in, like, 80-something% if I recall correctly. Back in the days of Kassadin. I wasn't technically playing it, that got more knowledge than I do, but on that. But yeah, Garrett in the bush, especially in this game where Garen is picked, there is still the Garrett in the bush We will take this quick update, though. The grubs have spawned. It does look like that the side of Moondusto will be claiming all 3 there with Void going down. That being said, the early movement up from the side of Ugnis will mean that TPO will have numbers advantage.
Knock up there for Jarvan, and Amumu just sort of gets caught in there and taken down. Orianna getting a kill, getting not only a kill, but a shutdown. So that's going to be some good early gold. I think she's going to have a pretty profound effect on this game. Granted, like, she's got to watch her positioning, but I think she's going to do so well into Sam. Sam hitting level 6 there in the background. This is now a different lane down bottom. They've got to watch out for it.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of range and like pressure advantage that Caitlyn has over Samira is pretty incredible. That said, Ado June will.
Ooh, Sen's got to watch out. He's sitting about 40%, though. Edogene absolutely trying to go for it. Chasing the Singed, able to get it, but he's going to lose a little bit of CS. Singed up on CS so far, but that should be closed quickly behind with his lane opponent grabbing a little bit more. He's going to have a little bit extra CS on his back whenever he eventually does. Nautilus once again grabbing a pretty good stun there. Rakan going down about half HP. Amumu once again having great positioning. There's the ult there for Sam. Sam going to try to get it, but it's not going to be enough. She's going to get taken down. She's actually going to get killed by Rakan. That's going to be really unfortunate. Nautilus might actually be able to make it out. This Amumu rotation has been absolutely phenomenal. He's everywhere he needs to be. In this game, there may not be a Garen, but there is a Amumu everywhere you don't want him.
He needs to get away. The ace in the hole has a short down if it gets canceled like that. Oh, hold on, Dunstan.
Again, going for the Orianna. Orianna does have to blink out, but I think Amumu blew flash there, if I saw that correctly. Yeah, it looks like he did blow flash, and now he's going to run into Jarvan there. Little skirmishing, going to go back and forward, and Jarvan's going to go for what he wants, which is going to be the mid, going down to about half HP. This is not a fight they want. He does have to flash, so that's going to be 2 flashes there for TPO.
Yeah, just a little bit too ambitious from Sweeble. Sees a somewhat low. Hold on, Team Sussman.
Orianna taking a whole bunch of damage. We got to return it just in time. Mid versus mid can still go either way. Orianna's got to be really cautious. Amumu once again rotating. Small little skirmishing top so far. Amumu might actually tower dive Orianna there. She's getting so close. If you're watching the minimap, I think he's going to go for it. He does pop a Q, I'm pretty sure there, but it looks like he did indeed miss it, because if he did, I think she would have gone down pretty quickly there.
The wave was in the way to really stop that, and what gave Team Sussman the vision and wherewithal to not go down there. Also, Ugnis roaming over, so in the end, Team Sussman who's feeling okay, but an important thing to note, it is Moondusto picking up the feats of warfare just a few moments ago, getting that 3rd kill. Hold on, Kolamanker.
Sam going in on Caitlyn there, but Caitlyn just not really taking it whatsoever. She did have a pretty good disengage there. They've got to watch out for the Nautilus. Nautilus keeps posturing, and his rotation's actually been pretty good so far, even though TPO has been a little bit behind. Jarvan maybe going for the Singe, which is not what they want, because they got to watch out here for the Mumu here in the background, as Singe actually knocks Jarvan out of his own ult. Jarvan getting so close to going down. He's got to watch out for it. The Q is missed there by Amumu, and it looks like we're going to get a little rotate over here by mid. Mid, unfortunately, is not going to get a kill on who they wanted, but I think they were able to get... No, actually, nobody... Did anyone die there? Yeah, Gwen died. I missed who Gwen died to.
It was to the minions, which gave the kill credit to Rock Bomber, because he wasn't touched. It was from the wave. It was from the wave coming in.
Rock Bomber getting a little bit of free gold there for him. So his team able to rotate. Mumu having a quite profound effect, I feel, on these games. He's just been, like I said, everywhere he needs to be. And so I've been really excited to see it. But I think TPO is sort of just happy to sort of sit here, get a little bit of farm. Syndra does get isolated, though. She's got to watch out. She's sitting about half HP. Orianna's going to pop her ult. That should give Jarvan enough time to pop it in, but she doesn't even need it. As Orianna gets a free kill, Orianna's going to do so much damage, and I think she's going to have a profound effect. Nautilus going to grab the stun there on Rakan. Rakan going down by about 40%. He's got to be careful, but so far they still have the spacing. They still have the distance, but it's not over just quite yet. As Nautilus goes for another one, he's going to pop his ult there on Caitlyn. There it is. Rakan's going to go down. Amumu rotating once again. Nautilus, being the good guy support, is going to take it directly to the face. It's not over just quite yet because Sam is just barely out of the ult there for Amumu. Jarvan can turn it around. Definitely, Orianna can pretty help this fight. There's going to be a TP there as well. Syndra going to move her way in, mopping up some of these kills. Jarvan in danger. Is he going to be able to get Caitlyn? But no, Caitlyn's actually going to get it from Predator to Prey. But Gwen's over here in the background, going to take down the Amumu, going back and forward. However, that's going to be 4 deaths for TPO, maybe 5 if they're not careful.
This fight is extended. Oh, wait, it could just be 5 rock bombers.
It's not over just quite yet. Sin might go for it. It looks like he's going to wisely turn around. I don't think you want to dive a Gwen. I know you've got gold. I know you're singed, but that's going to be really careful. Syndra flashing forward just barely, not getting Edo June.
Yeah, I mean, an absolutely hectic fight that Moondusto slightly eked out from. But, like, honestly, this all starts because Dragonsworn gets caught twice by Ugnis. And even though, in the end, in the grand scheme of things, it did kind of go to this way of Moondusto, I don't think that's really something you really even want to be, like, giving as a potential option to TPO there. And the reason why I was saying earlier that I thought Mira and Nautilus...
Oh, don't take it, Nautilus.
Yeah, that's the one you want. But the reason why I thought that picking the Samira into the Caitlyn was kind of troll is because the range. I think at that point, Dragonsworn even giving the option for that like strong 2v2 brawl. Oh, hold on.
Isolated, gonna pop his ult, gonna go for the Singe, and it is gonna be good. Orianna's gonna follow it up, doing so much damage to the entire team, and it looks like Moondusto is finally gonna fall apart. Sam gonna pop her ult as well, going for that ADC, finally gonna get the kill, but did Edo June grab it there in the end? Let's find out here in a second. Yeah, looks like Edo June got a double kill there. But if anyone's going to get it, I don't think that's the worst thing. I would have liked it better on Sam, but that does mean that Gwen's going to be able to come online sooner. And so far, it looks like my prediction is true, that Orianna having a pretty big impact on the fight, waiting for her team in, waiting for that Jarvan ult, and just sucking everyone in, doing so much damage, allowing Gwen to just sort of mop things up and Sam to move her way in. I don't think Sam got a kill there, unfortunately for her, but she did deal a healthy chunk of damage to everyone.
The flag drag cataclysm evil found 3, and with, as you said, with the shockwave over the top, basically meant that as soon as that fell down, the fight was all but over. All 3, I don't remember the exact 3 at this point, it's been a while, that were caught by it immediately fell over, and what was left of the fight, Aki decided that maybe they could try to turn that one around, but I think the fight was lost and they were punished for staying around all that much longer, and now TPO are right back into it.
Jarvan going to try to grab the Rakan, but Rakan's not the target you want to go for. He didn't spend a bunch of resources there with that engagement, but he did, I guess, zone. I guess a whole bunch didn't really happen there. I expected more, but once again, it was Rakan, and Rakan just has all of that escapability. And if Moondusto wants anything out of it, they probably want them to waste their CC on Rakan. That's probably their best case scenario. Wards are getting cleared over here by Moondusto. And they might be baiting out Shelly, although I don't think they want this fight. They're not in position. There's going to be the TP there for Orianna, and it looks like they're going to lose their number advantage just as quickly. Jarvan going to ult his way in, going down, getting so close to going down. I think that's an ult there for Orianna, and there's going to be the ult definitely for Sam. Sam absolutely chucking the competition, and there it is. Syndra's going to go down, leaving only 2 left inside the Shelly pit. It's not over just quite. 3 left down inside the Shelly pit. Rakan going to get targeted. Rakan going to take it down. Orianna being the only one left, but she's got to watch out for the Singe. Singe being the only one left on his side. Nautilus getting the stun, but once again going to knock up that APC. You're going to go down, and it looks like it's all coming up Singed. Singed just needs one little angle if he can get his way in there, but diving that Orianna's going to be hard.
Yes, go on, Singed. No, I think it might be
ready the needle. Orianna does have blue. That's pretty scary to dive into.
Yeah, but I think the big part of that fight, you did somewhat mention it, was with the flag drag cataclysm. The Orianna wasn't quite there to be able to layer that shockwave on top of, and even though it didn't necessarily go the way of Moondusto in the end, all things considered, I think that would have very comfortably been the side of TPO if they were able to just organize that combo a little bit better. If they were able to just time it out in a more I guess organized sort of way, would have almost certainly ensured that they would get not only the Rift Herald, they would also blow open this gold lead. They're only at about 6K right now, but it definitely could have been a lot better for them.
The teams are definitely feeling the pressure, not taking nowhere near as many risks as they did in the previous games. And I don't blame them because they're so close to getting knocked out one way or another of this. So they've got to be really careful moving forward. They both really want to win this. And they're going to try as hard as they can to get their way into that. And I still think things favor TPO, but really just everybody's one mistake away. There's going to be the flash there by it, and it's not going to be enough. It's not even a competition. She's going to die before anything can happen. Nautilus pulling Rakan into the tower. It's going to take a couple of tower shots, but Rakan able to save himself. Once again, he's just so hard to knock down. Now, granted, that is his kit. So Nautilus keeps wasting a whole bunch of resources there on that. It looks like Jarvan's going to try to find something. Mumu's sort of sitting there on the background looking for something to grab, but they do have plenty of vision, and they're going to see him the whole way through. So they are able to watch out for that. Gwen inside the Dragon Pit, trying to make something happen, looking for a good angle. But it looks like her lane opponent, Singe, is once again matching her. And Singe actually is 5-2. I didn't realize that a lot of their gold is on Singe, which, kudos to him, but I feel like it could be a little bit better on Syndra. But Syndra's not doing too bad. She's got 4 kills in the bank. It looks like it is Caitlyn that may be hurting over there.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we do have Otacon coming up alongside the Drake right now. Any potential fight here, if it goes one way, would be absolutely massive, considering both objectives are on the bottom side of the map.
Syndra getting pretty good stun there, but going to follow into a Nautilus knockup. Nautilus gets his little stun, popping his CC where he can. Sam's going to watch out. She's taking a whole bunch of damage. She does finally ult, but she's only really able to hit the Amumu in there. Unfortunately, Singe going down to about 30-40%, but he does not care. He's going to pop his way anyways. Sam once again doing another ult, but it's not going to be enough. The damage is on Moondusto's side as 3 goes down for TPO, leaving Moondusto to get the dragon.
It is a very big seesaw sort of fight. One side gets a pick, and they think that's their chance to go in, but it's their carry who then gets blown up immediately for going a little bit too far, and it was just that way back and forth between the two. And turns out Moondusto managed to get a favorable numbers advantage there, and is able to secure the Drake, but only the one extra person there. So the Otacon is still on the board as a result, and a second Drake, honestly, not all that catastrophic for the side of TPO.
I will say that the Mountain Drake is probably what Moondusto wants, right? I mean, obviously the Soul would be significantly better, but I think that should give them a little bit of an edge in these fights because they've just barely been killed a number of times, and that could really tip the scales in their favor, especially if they can keep their Syndra alive, who seems to be a good source of their damage. And a good source of their CC. Once again, like I said, Caitlyn struggling a little bit here on in sort of the team fight. Sam faring a little bit better, but Sam not able to find the damage, which means that Mountain Drake is going to sort of capitalize on her just having a harder time dealing more damage. And it may seem like a minor thing, but it really adds up, especially with Sam struggling to get kills. Sam struggling, despite she has 2 really good ults there in that fight, but she just was not able to find what she needed. She wasn't able to find the positioning, and she blew most of her first ult on Mumu.
I think, speaking of the Mumu, one thing that I think Moondusto can probably do, at least Tungsten. And typically we think of this curse. Oh, Tungsten.
Ooh, Amumu gonna get grabbed there by the Nautilus. Nautilus gonna get the stun. He's gonna flash over the wall, but right into the Jarvan ult. Jarvan ult absolutely locking everyone down, just sitting there to absorb plenty of the damage. Rakan's gonna watch out. He tried to support the fight, but it was not enough. Moondusto going down, losing 2, which means Otacon should go to TPO. I don't think they can really contest that, not with who's left.
No jungler 5v3. This Otacon's going to the side of TPO, and Shoot, give me a second. Yeah. Oh, and
All good. Some
excuse me
sounds like we're
there.
getting some voice difficulties there for Isaac, struggling with the longer form casting. I don't blame you. I actually have a specialty on my side, no pun intended, that helps me out, and I'll give you that sort of there in the background later on. Either way, it looks like we're going into full effect of the fight. Sort of take a look at the towers. I didn't realize that Moondusto has not taken any T1s. They are positioning to take the first T1, but that could turn into a fight rather quickly, and I think Moondusto will have a hard time fighting without that Amumu. The Amumu really seems to be their primary linchpin for these fights, and they have a hard time getting much done without the Amumu. Not that they can't chunk and can't do a whole bunch of damage, but he seems to be really what's pulling the team together. And that might be the same for Jarvan. Jarvan's had a lot of really good ults where he's been able to isolate people and then followed up with like Orianna and Sam, which is exactly what you want to see. So the jungles are both pretty powerful on their side despite their KDA. But once again, I'm one of those firm believer where I don't think League of Legends is a KDA game. It's an objective-based game, and it's a team fight game. And those things are really, really important. While KDA helps, it's not the whole story. They're just numbers.
It's one thing that I think Dunstan can do that I haven't quite seen them do yet is use the Curse of the Sad Mummy as kind of appealing tool, especially because the side of TPO, like, they just want to all go in at, like, the same time on the same person. I think if Dunstan is around their carries, because Dunstan's not really targeted, Dunstan can, like, stay in with his team and wait for the side of TPO to all go onto those targets, press alt defensively, assuming that they can survive the shockwave from Orianna, which on its own I don't think should be able to eliminate all these health bars. I think Dunstan might be able to like stop that initial punch and then can set up that counter from the side of Moondusto, because I mean Caitlyn can create kind of a decent amount of range for herself. Rock Bomber's going to be running around, slowing up the rest of the side of TPO, and I think the Scatter the Weak as well will push the whole enemy team back away, and I think that's what Dusto want. They want to play at a range, not want the side of TPO to be able to get onto them, because if TPO, as soon as they get onto anybody, they are stronger, and that's that. It's just no other way to put it. Moondusto needs to start to play at a distance a bit more. TPO has just had really too easy of a time just pressing their buttons and going in.
Taking a look at a couple other things, though, too, is the vision score. There's a pretty massive difference. Ooh, Jarvan gonna pop his way in, gonna grab two, exactly follow into the Orianna ult. So much damage there in the background. Sentra's gonna get knocked up by Nautilus ult. Is it gonna be enough? This could still turn around either way. Amumu finally going down, singed over here in the background, as it looks like Sam is ulting the whole team. Double kill there for Kate, and actually Moondusto turns it around. That's gonna be a free dragon and a quadra kill for Caitlyn, followed into an ace.
And that's pretty much exactly what the doctor. I mean, the doctor, but that is what I ordered. You wait for play at a distance, wait for it to go in. That was a really great exhaust from Dragonsworn. So hold on to it and wait for Samira to go in to press that exhaust onto it with the ultimate. Completely negates the ability and the amount of damage that she has in her kit. But overall, even before then, it was really well done from the side of Moondusto to keep TPOs at arm's length, to ensure that their champions can put down damage and that TPO can't, well, do anything themselves. And honestly, it just got TPO just started getting a little bit desperate there, trying to find something out of that fight, and instead lose their entire team and the soul point.
Moondusto showing that they're not only a League of Legends team, but they are also performing magicians, making the lead for TPO disappear right before their eyes. Gold now favoring Moondusto by about 2K, I guess about 1K or so, but still. The gold's gone to Caitlyn. Caitlyn gonna be able to do a lot more now that she's finally got some points on the board for herself.
Yeah, and one thing that Caitlyn can do, especially as gets levels under her belt, with those Yordle snap traps, she could really, if Moondusto get to these objectives, Caitlyn can dictate the terms in which TPO have to And that's something that is very advantageous for the side of Moondusto, because as I've said before, this TPO team, they want to be able to just go in and find the targets of Moondusto. If they don't find a way to get in close, there's just nothing that this composition can do. It really doesn't matter how much they have. And I think as Aki starts to level up, it becomes just a little bit harder for the side of TPO to find their win conditions for these fights.
Looks like TPO is really looking to start the fight, and the numbers aren't in the favor of Moondusto right now. So if they're going to fight, it's got to be now. Singe just sort of sitting there in the background, pushing the wave kind of passively as it goes into the tower. That's one thing I do want to note, though, is we're almost 30 minutes into the game, and barely any towers have gone down. No one's had a real big focus on macro. It's been a more objective base, which I guess is arguably, ooh, Amumu going to pop his way in, going for the Nautilus. Nautilus going down about half HP. Looks like we're going to blow a little bit back and forward, but no one going down there in that engagement. And now it looks like Moondusto is going to go for the Baron, forcing the back there from two of them. This would be their best opportunity to do it, but do they have the damage? And is Jarvan going to allow it to happen? He's excellent choice for sniping it. Is he going to be able to get it in time? He is positioning for it, looking for his angle. A Baron going down to about half HP. Could go either way. Orianna also looking for an angle there for all. There it is, going to go in, but it looks like Amumu is going to grab it. It's going to be good, but it will matter if they're going to get taken down for it. That Baron buff will do absolutely nothing if they're dead. Singed, barely staying alive. Flash forward there by Jarvan. Rakan trying to get out. Sam not able to get in where she needs to, but that is going to be two down there. That means there's only 3 Baron buffs left for Moondusto, so that Baron buff's a little bit diminished. Not completely out, but it's a little bit diminished. Caitlyn probably getting a little bit too close there for the fight, but maybe she's just waiting for the Amumu to go in.
Yeah, I think good from TPO to get a few kills on that backside to ensure that not all those Barons go over. Gets a few bit of extra gold back under their belts as well. Not quite the steal from Sweeble, but it's an okay consolation prize, especially if they can hold off this push. The only thing I have to say, there's one sort of issue with that, is that really only the Orianna has any sort of wave clear on the side of TPO. I guess you could say Ada June as well, but that's more of a short range sort of thing. And with how much extra range that this Caitlyn Syndra have over the composition of TPO, this Baron push can potentially be devastating for Moondusto.
Well, in the previous 2 games as well, the ADC Koala over here, Koala's been a primary source of damage in the last 2 games. And it looks like your prediction was right. She's really struggling into Caitlyn. Caitlyn keeping her distance. Caitlyn having a lot of that disengage. So that's really helped her. And Caitlyn's sort of come out on top there for it, because the gold for the most part is, I guess it's pretty evenly spread between top, ADC, and mid, with one having 7 and the other 2 having 6 and 6. So the gold's been good at that. But the other thing though too is Caitlyn only has 2 deaths, and that's going to be pretty good. And she's got pretty good KP. So she's been in the right place at the right time. And that's really saying something, because when you run into Jarvan, when you run into Nautilus, when you run into Gwen and Orianna and basically the whole team, if you get caught out of position, you're all but gone. And so far, Caitlyn hasn't done that. She's had very, very strong plays, of course, followed up by her team, but I think her positioning has been quite phenomenal so far.
We might be getting something just now. Dragon is spotted. Soul point for the side of Moondusto. TPO, they're going to have to move in quickly if they want to stop this.
Syndra's got to watch out there as Gwen makes her way in, but it looks like right there's going to be the CC saving Syndra from the Gwen, but is it going to be enough? Jarvan going to go down to that Caitlyn, but no, actually Moondusto doing so much damage, it doesn't matter. There's going to be an ace and a double kill by Syndra. This might be all but over. Do they have enough time to push it with 40 seconds on the clock?
Yeah, it's really just perfect from the side of Moondusto. They separate that fight. TPO, they want to go in onto a scene. They want to go in together as a team, but they just get split up. And Aki does a really good job of keeping this composition of TPO at arm's length. Does a really good job to move away from that Drake, knowing that someone's going out. They've got to focus on that Drake to prevent the Soul from going aside. And with how long these respawns are, this actually just might be.
Those towers are going to die extremely quickly. Nobody on the map just quite yet, and there it is, folks.
Up.
I think that's going to be GG there for Moondusto. Jarvan's only going to be able to do so much as the Nexus goes down. There it is. GG, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to Moondusto.
Yeah, really well done from the side of Moondusto. He struggled a little bit early because TPO was finding their ways in. They were finding that to go and like find the range, but then Moondusto did a good job to realize what was going on, realize that they needed to keep their competition at range. That TPO really couldn't do anything with the gold lead that they have if they weren't allowed to go in. And TPO just got a little bit impatient, and Moondusto really good job to punish them for that impatience and to turn this game around and to take the series.
It seemed like their primary strategy, and this sounds rather simple, but I think it worked out for them quite well. Their primary strategy was to kind of focus around the ADC. Not that the ADC was the only little bit of work, but where they struggled was previously they didn't protect their backline, they didn't protect their ADC, and TPO really capitalized on that. But in game 2 and game 3, it seems like Moondusto had the mindset where it's like, okay, we've got to watch out for it. That was the reason for the Ivern pick, and it had such a profound effect, giving Mord plenty of time to just mop up kills. And anytime you give Mord a massive shield, he's gonna use it. And indeed, he just walked all over the competition. And then here, having that Caitlyn, with the range, it seemed to have a pretty big effect. On top of just all of her team in the right place at the right time. Amumu just constantly in these great positions, having a lot of good grabs early on. He sort of faltered there, sort of in the center, but then I think he filled his role exactly when and where he needed to. He was the one that seemed to have gotten ulted the most by Jarvan, which is if someone's getting ulted by Jarvan, it might as well be the tank.
Yeah, I mean, if you're ulting like the Amumu, the target selection, uh, again, just kind of goes back from what I think might have just been a little bit of desperation from the side of TPO. This because they know that they knew they couldn't stay at a distance. It was pretty obvious with the composition that that's what they were doing, and they just kind of decided, well, the rest of it seems a bit too far, so we're going to go in on this Amumu, and some of those cooldowns are too big to have elsewhere. I'm waiting to see if potentially we'll have an interview with one of the Moondusto players incoming. Honestly, it's a bit hard to pick with them. Almost all of them had their moments throughout that game, throughout the two sort of games. But we will be back with an interview with one of the Moondusto players when we return, so don't go anywhere.
And we are back with the man, the myth, the legend, the ADC from the last game. Introduce yourself. Who are you? What's your name? What's your mother's maiden name?
And the funny numbers.
And the funny numbers on the back of your credit card.
My name's Aki. I'm the AD carry for Moondusto, and yeah, we played an excellent series.
Yeah, congratulations on the win. I want to ask, especially with how game one, the kind of the start of game three, how did you guys like manage to keep the mental in check and like reset to be sure that you are in the right headspace to come out with a victory?
Uh, our team always knows that as long as we play together, we'll get the dub. And if we play towards our win cons, I think game one we were very rusty because I think that was some of our first games of the days. Some of our players are under the weather a little bit, so we just had to get the rust off a little bit and just move on to game twos and three.
So I guess I've got a question on my end. When you saw the Aatrox, did y'all know that he was quite prominent on the Aatrox, the other team, or were y'all just not worried about it? What was the thinking when y'all saw him pick Aatrox?
Honestly, I did not know he was an Aatrox player. I think we totally outdrafted them during that comp though, because if you look at their comp, they kind of lack damage eventually. So I think that game they had a little bit of a lead early on, and so if we just weathered the storm basically, we can just outscale them because Kaisa hard outscales Callista. And they also lack kind of damage, I think, with their team comp for game two.
Right. And so for yourself, just want to ask, how does it feel to kind of pop off like that, especially in a game three?
Uh, I guess it's exhilarating as the AD carry. You know, you're always looking for that pop off play. That's why you're playing AD carry. You're suffering through lane phase. You're trying to scale, but eventually you get your flowers as the AD carry because everyone has to play for you or should play for you.
And then I guess my final question on my end is: do you have anything to say to the remaining teams going forward, to the other teams, just sort of in general?
Y'all better watch out for Moondusto because we're coming for first.
All right, I like the confidence. And so before we close this out, Aki, anyone you'd like to shout out on the stream?
My wonderful team for peeling for me, and all my fans, and our fans. Yeah.
Well, congratulations to Moondusto. We're going to be looking forward to seeing more games from you and judging you critically from an armchair with little experience. So look forward to that. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I have been your host, Korak, joined today by Mr. Isaac. Thank you so much for joining us in this Ember Scorch League. Hope to see you in more.